The raucous din of the crowded spaceport bar greeted me, like an old friend, as I stepped through the doors. Neon signs blinked from every corner, advertising drinks from across the galaxy. The smoky air carried a dozen languages, shouted by traders, smugglers, miners, and every other spacefaring soul trying to shake the stellar dust off their boots. I spotted my contact sitting alone at a corner table, nursing a fluorescent concoction. Even hunched on a stool, he towered over the other patrons. His biology was a peculiar blend of pachyderm and swine, with floppy ears, a bulbous snout, and thick hide mottled in shades of gray. I clapped a hand on one meaty shoulder in greeting. "Glor, you ugly bastard," I exclaimed. "I heard you'd kicked the bucket on that slimeball planet OIA. How'd you escape the food chain down there?" Glor's gravelly voice rumbled with mirth. "Jax, good to see your pink hide still in one piece." He clasped my forearm in the traditional greeting of his people, his hand easily encircling my bicep. "Ah, you know me, always managing to slip out of trouble at the last minute," I laughed. "Yes, like that time on Draws 9 when I had to pull you out from under that mother dragon after you thought you could take her eggs," Glor guffawed loudly. I winced at the memory. In my defense, that batch of eggs could have scored us a small fortune on the black market. But, yes, perhaps not my finest moment. Glor waved the bartender over. "Speaking of close shaves, come, share a drink. I'll tell you my tale of woe and triumph over disgusting man-eating worms the size of asteroids on OIA." I laughed and pulled up a stool as the bartender brought over 2 more of whatever toxic brew was glowing in Glor's glass. Soon, we were both choking down the acidic concoction he called Nunville, which tasted faintly of vomit and burning. But friendship often requires certain sacrifices. "So, how was OIA's?" I asked, trying not to gag on the Nunville. "I heard it's lovely this time of year. If you enjoy cesspools—" "Let me tell you, it was no pleasure cruise," Glor began. "That planet is 90% swamp gas and leeches. But I was chasing a big score, a downed cargo freighter supposedly loaded with erodium ingots." "Erodium?" I gave a low whistle. "That must have been some prime salvage." Glor nodded. "An old mining buddy tipped me off, but getting to the wreck meant trekking through the Glur Marsh swamps. Talk about a hellhole. Knee-deep muck infested with parasites and man-eating worms the size of starships." He described struggling through bubbling bogs under an oppressive green haze, battling off enormous worm beasts at every turn. His small expedition team dwindled rapidly. "Those things could swallow a guy whole in one gulp," he recalled with a shudder. "Lost Jenkins first when one burst up from the mud and dragged him down, before he could even scream. Then we stumbled into a whole nest of worm hatchlings. I've never seen anything so terrible." I listened raptly as Glor spun his tale, injecting sound effects and dramatic gestures. The Nunville flowed, and I winced and groaned at each gruesome detail. Our drinks were forgotten as he transported me to the nightmarish swamps of OA. Finally, Glor reached the crashed erodium freighter, half sunk in sticky mire. He mimicked the motion of slicing through the aged cargo hull with a plasma torch, his eyes aglow with remembered excitement. Of course, just as we began hauling up crates of the precious metal, disaster struck. That's when the mother of all worms erupted up from the swamp. Had to be 300 meters long, staring at us with gaping jaws large enough to gulp down the whole ship. We ran like hell while the mother worm munched down the freighter, along with our score. I sat back with a stunned whistle. "Stars above! How'd you get out of there?" "Jet boots, singing my tale the whole way." Glor chuckled. "Made it off the planet by a hair's breadth. Lost the cargo and nearly my hide, but what a story." I shook my head in amazement. My friend's exploits put my recent smuggling jobs to shame. We swapped a few more tales over yet another round of Nunville, reminiscing about old jobs and shared scrapes with death. Our unlikely camaraderie began years ago during a hostage extraction gig on the lawless moon of Draws 9. We'd started as rivals. his merc company against mine. But when things went sideways, as they always do on Draws 9, we ended up back-to-back, fending off an entire clan of cyborg Kodo dragons. You forge a special bond when you pull dragon teeth out of someone's ass. After that wild ride, we stayed in touch between jobs. Despite our different backgrounds in biology, Glor and I shared a common viewpoint. Keep your head down, credits flush, and plasma rifle close. Not to mention a healthy appreciation for feminine beauty, regardless of species. Many a night we'd spend debating which alien race boasted the most pleasing aesthetics. As the Nunville flowed, our drunken debate began anew. "Face it, Jax," Glor belched, "your smooth, squishy, tiny human women can't compare to rebellion beauties." To illustrate his point, he pulled up a holo on his wrist computer, displaying a rather zoptic female of his species. I laughed until Nunville shot out my nose. "That's your poster girl. She's wider than she is tall." "Nah, give me curves in all the right places," I said, tracing an exaggerated hourglass figure in the air. "My people perfected the female form." "Your females all look the same," Glor protested, showing another rebellion on display. "Ours have unique attributes you humans can't appreciate. I'll take symmetry over whatever that mess is any day." I shook my head at the newest holo. "I'll have you know a robust, ample figure is the highest standard of beauty among my kind," Glor huffed in indignation. "If you say so, but I've got a 20-credit word for you." "Cellulite," I said, eliciting raucous laughter from the next table over. Glor scowled, his wide nose flaring. "You and your carnivore prejudices. My people prefer a well-insulated female." "Hey now, insulation is great in starships. Not so much in the fairer sex," I countered. This debate was getting heated, as only two drunk beings arguing aesthetics could. We argued passionately, fueled by alcohol and cultural pride. Finally, Glor slammed down his empty glass. "Enough talk. Let's settle this debate once and for all. We'll hold a contest right here to judge true beauty." In my inebriated state, this seemed a fantastic idea. I waved down a waitress and announced our plan at top volume. Before long, the bar was buzzing with anticipation. Patrons eagerly volunteered as judges or sent messages summoning contestants. Within the hour, a parade of females gathered, representing species from across the galactic territories. We cleared a space in the center of the bar for the makeshift stage. The judges assembled, a mix of races eager to witness the spectacle. Glor and I took seats in the front row, ready to cheer on our own champions. I rubbed my hands together. Get ready to witness perfection, my friend. My credits are on one of my kind sweeping this contest. "We'll see about that," Glor chuckled. "I hope you have plenty of credits to spare." The first few contestants were admittedly impressive. A tentacled beauty sashayed up, swaying her dozen shapely appendages in mesmerizing patterns. The judges nodded appreciatively at her iridescent skin shifting through prismatic hues. A soaring female with rainbow-feathered crest solicited gasps as she flared her plumage dramatically. Even a crystalline being's geometric symmetry impressed the panel. Contestants flaunted features and forms ranging from wispy wings to prehensile hair and skin that rippled with light. Glor cooed encouragement at each rebellion entrant. They twitched their ears and wiggled their nose flaps in creative patterns, playing to the crowd. "You call those moves beauty?" I mocked. "That's just wiggly bits flopping around. You watch your tongue before I rip it out for insulting my people's time-honored courting rituals," Glor growled. I held up my hands. "Easy, big fella. Just some friendly competition here." We settled back to watch as a striking Orion girl took the stage. Her bright green skin contrasted with her scarlet hair. She moved with cat-like grace, earning approving looks from the male judges. Now that's stunning, I remarked to Glor. Symmetry, fitness, flexibility. She's got it all. He grunted begrudgingly. Passable, but she lacks proper fat stores for childbearing. I rolled my eyes. Clearly, we were worlds apart in aesthetics. The contest continued with more stunning entrants. Try as they might to sway the judges, when my people took the stage, I knew the contest was over. The human ladies strutted confidently, displaying hourglass silhouettes, defined musculature, and flowing locks. The judges nodded in appreciation, and I shot Glor a triumphant grin. But in the lineup of humans stood a surprise, a blue-skinned female with tendrils instead of hair and an ethereal air. I gaped in astonishment as she began a graceful, sensual dance. Her beauty and poise were undeniable. The judges were entranced, and the audience roared approval. Even Glor seemed impressed. In the end, the judges were unable to choose a single winner, but it was unanimously agreed that the diversity of beauty throughout the universe could not be measured by any one standard. Each being possessed their own exceptional aesthetic. Glor and I left the contest in high spirits, all past arguments forgotten. I threw an arm around his massive shoulders. Well, friend, it seems we both have much to appreciate across the galaxy. He chortled. Too true. Beauty takes infinite forms, though rebellion ladies still reign supreme in my eyes. Keep dreaming. You perverted warthog. I laughed and playfully squeezed his shoulder. At least we agree on one thing. The universe is one gorgeous, crazy mystery, and we've barely scratched the surface. Here's to the adventures ahead and the beauties we've yet to discover, Glor proclaimed loudly, sloshing his drink with enthusiasm. More Nunville splattered both of us. I'll drink to that, I said, clinking my glass against his. The horrible Nunville went down easier after our contest. We drank to the promise of improbable camaraderie that endures across light years and crosses the boundaries of biology and worlds. The Milky Way was our playground, and the game was just beginning.